Guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and warm greeting to you all. On behalf of the organizing committee, we would like to warmly welcome you to sharing session volume 11 entitled Scientific Talk, Bridging Grassroots Innovation and Global Strategy, organized by the Direktur of Research and Innovation, Institut Teknologi Bandung. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to briefly present the agenda for today's sharing session, volume 11, as follows. Opening by the Master of Ceremony, opening remark by Director of Research and Innovation, Institut Teknologi Bandung, introductory remark and presentation by the Ministry of Higher Education, Science and Technology, handover of the session of the moderator, the main session consisting of the keynote speech, discussion, and question and answer session. And closing. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin today's session, we are pleased to invite Professor El-Fahmi, Director of Research and Innovation, Institut Teknologi Bandung, to deliver his opening remark.
Very good morning, everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable Professor Anil Kumar Gupta, right, from our special guest for today. So again, I told you that most of lecturers at the ITB are really active to do research and also innovation. So we hope in your speech today we can learn from you, of course, about the how to bridge again the innovation into the market. For global market, of course. I think up till now there are 60 participants have registered. Maybe during the speech they will be coming, and I apologize for you to disturb your holiday today, Sunday, right? Sunday is a holiday, but we have holiday here, right? This is also holiday, so we make this meeting also enjoyable, like we also enjoy this our holiday. Thank you very much, also Pak Bagus Muljadi, for your coming. Hopefully this is the kick off our collaboration, right? Maybe for the next future, maybe you can also, have some project, to do together, especially for the Nottingham as well. We have also alumni. So let me introduce also our deputy here, Pak Dr. Nur Ahmadi, right? In my directorate, there are three deputy of research, deputy of innovation, and deputy of what we call this research centers. So this building, 8 floors, containing around 34 of research centers. So all faculty members can also do the multidisciplinary research in this building. Hopefully, these centers can become the excellent centers to produce the many innovation. So the question is, how do we bring our innovation into the market? So this is the big question for us now. But some innovators already have been in the market. So we would like to improve it. So in today's discussion, again, I would like to say to you that we are happy to have this meeting. So that's what I would like to say today. So let's we enjoy our meeting today, and hopefully not only the output of this meeting, not only this knowledge, but probably we can have also for further collaboration, right? So what I told you a few weeks ago, our rectors had the meeting with our education consulate in India. So they offer us collaboration with several higher level university in India as well. So next year will be follow up. So maybe we can also visit you. Okay, the participants, let we listen from Professor Anil Kumar Gupta, right? And also from Bagus Muljadi for this one. Thank you very much, Pak Yudi. You have bring them here. So we can have some knowledge to learn from here. Thank you very much, Bu Novi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Pagi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So today we have Professor Anil Gupta from India. We know that India have a scientific culture, a strong scientific culture, and Yesterday, I just know that Mahatma Gandhi initiated the innovations contest, right? 1929, that already started. So India realized that the innovation that come up from the society can enrich the innovation in the whole country. And this might be one of the important part to develop the innovation ecosystem in the whole country, right? And I also remember that in 1976, Nehru included one of the articles in the regulation of India, just put the scientific temper article, scientific temper, perangai ilmiah. And in that part, India government give an opportunity, an obligation to each individual citizens to think creatively, enhance their curiosity, and questioning everything as a seed for the innovations that come up from the society. And see, India has a strong history to develop what we call it citizen science. And we know that India, one of the producers of the grassroots innovations in not only Asia Pacific, but I think that in the global, many innovations come up from the India in the certain level and the big spectrum. And that's why today I think this is one of the best opportunity to us to present and discuss with Professor Gupta. He is one of the pioneers in the grassroots innovation in India through the Honeybee Network and the others voluntary group in India. And I believe that we know when we hear the innovation work, so we talk about the impact, about the benefit of the inventions, right? And a couple hours ago, we discussed with Bagus and Professor Gupta, only less than 5% of the invention can be transformed to be innovations, right? And this number, not only in India, but also Indonesia and some other country, let's say just like a constant number. So the strategy to enhance the innovation in the whole country, we need to produce more invention, right? To have the big number of the innovations. And the public participations, the public engagement, I think one of the important parts to produce, let's say, an invention to transform to the innovation. That's why the grassroots innovations, one of the important part to be enhanced in our daily life. And here, I think one of the good moments to have the good lesson, to listen, learn from India. And we would like to invite the insight and the comment or let's say some question from you. And we will have about 1.5 hours to discuss this issue. So in the Ministry of Higher Education and Science and Technology in Jakarta, we also have a special program that can transform the new paradigm, not only to strengthen the scientific literacy and scientific understanding in the public, and we also create the program how to enhance the public engagement. That's why we have the Semesta, we have a Living Lab program, a Berdikari and so on, just to make sure the public is involved in the scientific activity and to produce grassroots innovations. We believe that involvement of the community in the future is the must, since we have limited number of the innovators or the innovation productions. Since we only have, in Indonesia, we only have 300,000 faculty members. So if we only rely on that community, I think the number, our mission to enhance the number of innovations will have an issue. That's why to make and to produce the citizen science, so that we have a big potential in our community. So please use this opportunity to discuss with our special expert from India, and we also have Bagus Muljadi that can bridge our discussion today. So once again, thanks for your coming, and I would like to invite Bagus Muljadi and Prof. Gupta to us together in the beginning.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof. Yudi. Thank you. Big round of applause for Professor Anil Gupta. Lovely. Please have a seat, gentlemen. Now, so what's going to happen is that I'm going to moderate the session discussion with Professor Anil Gupta, and then there will be time for question and answers with the audience. Today we're going to discuss very important topics. So we're talking about innovations, commercializations, things that are known, at least at face value, at the university environment. But then also about global strategy. These are very difficult topics to engage with, and Professor Anil Gupta is, I think, one of the most respected, not only scientists, but also innovators, but most likely through his work with the grassroots community through Honeybee Network. Now, Professor Anil Gupta, can you explain a little bit to the audience about Honeybee Network, please?
Yeah, good morning to everybody. Honeybee is a metaphor. Honeybee does what many of us intellectuals don't do. Honeybee does cross-pollination. We get globally networked, but locally alienated. We are connected to our peers in different countries in the world, but we are not connected to our own people. So first principle is connect to the communities and connect communities to each other. So one community has solved a problem, another community is struggling with it, cross-pollination. Second is, of course, that people should not become anonymous. Much of the literature on community knowledge made people anonymous. They never acknowledged them. Very seldom did they make them co-author. But it is their knowledge, they should be the author. That is the basic ethics of knowledge system. Third is, whatever research we do in our lab on their knowledge, validation or invalidation, we should share it back with them in local language. And fourth, if we generate any economic returns, consultancy, honorarium, awards, a reasonable share of that should go back to the people whose knowledge made that possible. So these are the four principles which underlie the Honeybee Network.
Noted. Now, we spoke about a lot of important terms there, but speaking about recognition, I mean, journal authorship is the currency of academia, and I think it's not only in Indonesia but elsewhere in the world, and it's everything that we depend our career on. So how do you make sure that people are recognized? Is it through journal publications? Is it through IPs? Is it through shares of benefits? How would you ensure that the spoils don't go only to the top?
Yeah, so there are many ways in which we can recognize the creativity.
Yeah.
And I will show you one way, and some others I will explain. So this is a product developed by my colleague Dr. Anamika based on the knowledge of 5 people from Baramulla, Jammu and Kashmir, Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir in India. But what is special about it is the names of the knowledge provider are given on the label. In the marketplace, you don't find a product in India, Indonesia, or Europe, or US, where names of the knowledge providers are given on their label.
Okay. And it does say knowledge provider.
Knowledge provider.
It does, yeah.
Knowledge provider. So the idea is there are several forms of reciprocity between academics and the communities. One is we acknowledge them in our research paper. make them co-author wherever necessary and possible.
Yeah.
Third, put their names on the label of the product, whether engineering product, herbal product, whatever product. Fourth, if we file patents, patents should be in their name. We have added value, correct? But that's our job. We get salary for that.
Yeah.
But they have shared their knowledge and we have validated it. In all, about 1,200 patents we filed in India in the name of community innovators members. No scientist was put, their name was put in the patent application. And finally, when licensing is done, the share of the income goes back to the communities. So we must create a very ethical, fair, and just system of reciprocity, recognition, and reward.
That really challenges our traditional knowledge about how innovation come about. Technically, at the universities, at least where I'm teaching in the UK, we've understood the terms technology readiness level. So usually research at its infancy is at 0th level and then gradually progresses to the 9th, and then just before it gets released to the market, then we understand this term called the valley of death, and that's when you are calling for investors to make the product scale up, right? And that's where the problem often lies. But this is very different. Can you take us through the creation of this product and how does it deals with ownership, with IPs? You mentioned about when patents are filed, it has to be shared amongst the knowledge providers. But how do you fund it? And how do you make sure that the commercial benefits goes back to the people who deserve?
So this research was funded by Department of Biotechnology, Government of India.
Okay.
So Department of Biotechnology gave us a project on bio-entrepreneurship. And the idea was to set up enterprises by the communities and for the communities. So there were several products that communities made and sold directly to people.
Yeah.
With their own label, with their own branding, with their own packaging. But in some cases, scientists had to work on them. So LM College of Pharmacy in Ahmedabad, they have pharmacognosy department.
Yeah.
And Dr. Mamta, she found that the 4 or 5 herbs had to be extracted in oil, different oils, to get the right amount of metabolites from them, which will have effect on pain. She did animal experiments, and we could show that with the best product in the market, this was comparable to that. So we did validation, we did benchmarking, we did SOP, standard operating procedure for extraction, and all of that, and then we filed the patent, and then it was given to people for trial. So we decided that there will be 2 different levels of its market reach. One for elite class, where packaging will be different, you will charge much more price, and one for common people. So one group working with about 100 women in Varanasi, one of the districts of our country, took this and made the women as marketing agent for this oil and earning about 20 to 30% margin by selling each bottle. So it gave livelihood to women during marketing also. Because not all the margin was retained by the producer. So what we are trying to say is that the whole value chain from idea, innovation, validation, value addition, packaging, product, commercialization, all of this process was done very transparently and ethically. It is possible that it might have failed, and some products do fail.
That's right, yeah.
But that's part of life. We cannot assume that we will succeed always.
Yeah.
But one thing I must mention, that in the phenomena of IP, we have hybridized the Indian model with the Western model. So when farmers or household women or artisans develop some innovation, some machine, for example, and if neighboring farmer wants to copy it, we allow it. People-to-people copying is allowed and encouraged. People-to-firm or industry is through licensing. Because our societies have survived through sharing. We should not let that culture of sharing be stifled. People should help each other. That is how societies are built. That's what our culture is all about, East Asian culture. So we should not use Western model to prevent people from sharing their knowledge, their discoveries with neighboring farmers. Yeah. So we have made it possible. Not a single case has been filed out of 1,200 patents against a fellow farmer. Never. They are free to copy. But if a firm wants to use it commercially, sell it, they should pay royalty, they should pay license fee, they should have an agreement. So I think we should invent new models. We also have a lot of innovations which are in open source. Our databases, I'll tell you a little bit about our databases because that tells you how much sharing we do. And I must also say to my young friends, you download a lot of content, but you don't upload much content. Isn't it? Your download is very high, upload is very poor. All assignments of the students, all research papers must be uploaded. That's my appeal to all of you. Assignment, some might say, but my assignment may not be good. Doesn't matter. Let society judge. If society judges it, I will work better, I will work harder, I will write better assignments. So quality will improve. So my students' assignment are on the web. Now databases, we have one database I would like to begin with called Techpedia, Techpedia, techpedia.in, which has information of 200,000 engineering projects. Every engineering student generally does a final year project. It may be in some science, physics, chemistry, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. And these projects are done in group, 3 or 4 students. So about 600,000 students' mind has been mapped. Why did we do that? We did it because no student should do what has been done before. Before innovation comes the concept of originality. If I'm not original, if I'm doing the same thing that has been done again and again, how can I be innovative? So originality, to promote originality in our country, every undergraduate project and postgraduate project must be put, at least the summary of it, abstract of it, should be put on the web. Yeah. Our University Grants Commission, our All India Council of Technical Education could not do that. But we did it voluntarily by pooling the projects. How did we do that? We asked a student during summer vacation to go to professors, "Sir, do you want your students to do original work?" "Yes." "Sir, but how would they know what others have done?" "True. Can you give us the abstract of your students?" And that's how we collected the abstracts. Very informally, just with a small letter that we will acknowledge the students, the guide, the department, and the industry. Yeah. Indeed. Another database we have is 1 million abandoned US patents. 1 million. Available to you sitting here. Similarly, HB & Kind, farmers' innovations, herbal innovations, medicinal plant database in 4 languages. And again, this database is for animal use, human use, and agricultural use.
Good.
So all these databases are open access.
Yeah. Can I add something? So we talk about the public participation, right?
Yes.
And can you also give some story related to the participation of the public in India? Since you talk about the number, right? Millions patent, or I believe that also will be many inventions come up from the public, right?
Yes.
So, and you also tell us about the group of the voluntary people that can help you, not only for documentation, but also to enhance the public to do some invention. Can you have a story?
So there are 2 communities in our country which have contributed voluntarily to the entire network. One is scientists. No scientist from medical science, from industrial science and CSIR, or from agriculture science charged for their time while doing experimental validation of the people's knowledge. They all did it voluntarily. No scientist charged for their time. Some scientists did not charge even for consumables. That means chemicals. Second community is of IP lawyers. None of the intellectual property lawyers charged us for their time. They did it pro bono. All of them, all patents, including in India and US, we have filed. So I would say the scientists we all get all of you get salary from the government, isn't it? And you have projects. Communities deserve our time. They have a right on our time. They have a claim on our time.
Yeah.
And we must do this. Plus, when our students do learn about techniques, chemical separation, the isolation of elements in the physical materials, if we can give real problems to them. For example, if we have a boat which has been in the water for 150 years,
Yeah.
and the wood has not degenerated, I should do the physical analysis of that material and find out how did they treat the wood,
Yeah.
which it was used for making boat. That 150 years saline water in sea, it has not degenerated. What is the physics of it? What kind of material it is? What conjugates it made with the coating material? And what was the fruit of which the coating material was made? These will generate new science. My argument is that when we work on people's knowledge, in some cases, frontiers of science will get extended. We'll get new concept. One example. When farmers transplant tobacco seedling in our country, they put a pot of milk and put a hand in the milk. The belief is that the spores of the virus, tobacco mosaic virus, will get inactivated.
Okay.
When animals have foot and mouth disease, it's a viral disease, people put milk on the hoof of the cattle. Now, I told this to biochemists and physiologists once in a conference, and the postdoc student came to me at tea time and told me, sir, both these viruses are type 2 RNA virus. Now, type 2 RNA virus, and milk has RNase enzyme. So protease, which is an enzyme which breaks protein, once it breaks the outer layer of the virus, the RNase enzyme might be inactivating it. That was the hypothesis. But this hypothesis didn't exist in viral disease control. In viral disease, we say there's no control.
Yeah.
Right? In COVID also we knew
Yeah,
that.
but according to your story, this already got an advanced scientific level, right? So is it possible for the grassroots to identify such kind of
No,
issue?
they may not know sometimes they do right thing for wrong reason. For example, once we found a chickpea field surrounded by a row of coriander. Coriander you use in your vegetable. And they said, it repelled the pest. We said, okay, it's interesting. So then an ICRISAT, which is International Center, Michael Pimbert, he was my friend, I gave him this idea. He did experiments for 3 years, and he found actually coriander attracted the predator of the pest. Outcome was same, control of the pest, but reasoning was wrong. It was not repelling. It was attracting the predator, the insect which killed the harmful insect. So many times, farmers may not have or the people may not have the right reasoning why something works. They may embody it in the cultural language, God, goddesses, this, that, fear, different symbols may be used, which may make this knowledge look unscientific.
Yeah. At first.
At first. But please remember, before refrigerators were invented, our people kept the milk fresh for days, by boiling it after. They didn't know the pasteurization principle,
Right.
but they knew that if you boil it a few times, after a few hours, some agent which spoils the milk will get killed, the microorganisms. They didn't know the microorganism name. They didn't know the causal mechanism.
Yeah.
But they had the practice which was valid.
Yeah.
So we should look at that people have empirical knowledge. They may not be having right causal mechanism.
Right.
But for a long time, even in the modern science, we have had solutions for which we didn't know the causal mechanism. For example, aspirin, which was used to control headache. We didn't know whether it reduced the headache or it reduced the communication of pain to the brain.
Yeah.
We didn't know that for a long time, but we used this medicine. So many times, even in modern science, the exact root of action is not known.
Yeah.
But we accept it. Similarly, we should understand that people may not know the causal mechanism. They may not have the scientific tools or instruments. But if the practice works functionally, we should respect it and find the science of it.
Right.
So a lot of practical knowledge about pest control, about animal healing, about machinery. Turbines have been made by illiterate people, mechanics, hydro turbines. 50 RPM. 50 RPM is revolution per minute. When water is moving very slowly, scientists will say, but with this flow, I cannot generate power. But this man is generating power by having low revolution per minute, high torque. When RPM goes down, torque increases. When torque increases, he is able to turn the turbine, the generator, and able to get electricity out of it.
Yeah, I mean, science as we know it today actually is probably just 200, 300 years old, right? Probably you could date it back to the times of Francis Bacon. And then throughout those times, there are methodologies. You spoke of scientific tools. These are things like falsifiability, repeatability under close controlled environments. But the challenge here is, how do you make sure that all of this local knowledge is distilled to the point where they are of some use to the greater public? Because while the idea is romantic in itself, but some of them are at least can only be passed down through verbal culture and risk itself to be unrepeatable when needed the most. So how do you make sure that scientific tools that we know of today can be combined?
You make tofu out of soybean. You ferment it.
Right.
Correct?
Yeah.
For how long should it be fermented? 24 hours? 36 hours? 48 hours? The result will be different.
Yes.
Right?
So is cheese. Maybe.
So it is science. They have done an experiment. They have found the time for which fermentation should be done. Then they squeeze it and make tofu out of it.
Yeah.
We have a lot of fermentation technologies, even the fish. Mm-hmm. Some of the fish are fermented. Yeah. So my point is, they have done experiments time and again, and developed a method of preserving food, preserving fish, preserving meat. In the kitchen in our country, maybe here also, then you have a fire in the center. There are rakes on the top of the fire, where they dry the fish, they dry cheese, they dry other things, chilies, isn't it? And they knew that smoke of the fire will fumigate the seeds. So corn cobs were hung on the roof, where the smoke will go but temperature will not be high, and the seed will remain intact. So they were able to divide the temperature from the furnace up to the roof at different heights, different temperature, for different purposes of preservation. So I think we need to work out, how did they discover this? Optimal height, where temperature will be less, smoke will be high. They knew the concept of fumigation. They stored grains for decades.
I mean,
the seeds were stored for a long time. So we need to ask ourselves, how did they discover plants, for example, which if scattered in a lake, the fish will become numb, you can catch it easily. Right?
Do you want to add something to it?
Yeah. It's very interesting. We can see and found many inventions from the public, right, for the society. But we need more. For example, just like a national movement that we discussed today, right?
Yes.
So any special strategy? I believe that probably you said that you have a big database, and what is the content of the database, and how do you start to have the big database, and how we use that database, right? For example, you talk about tofu.
No, there are students sitting here. Some of them are students, right?
Yes.
And you have a program where they go to field. Pokyang, what was the name of that program?
KKN.
KKN, where they go to field for 2-3 weeks, sometimes longer. And they're supposed to carry the knowledge from the lab to the field.
Okay,
But the conditions in the lab and conditions in the field are not similar. So many times our technologies don't work exactly as they will work in the lab, in the field. So they may do experiments and they may bring back news of successful or failure of the technology. But if they could use this time for mapping the mind of the people,
Yeah, I see.
for finding out the underutilized resources, for finding out the bio-waste. Yesterday we saw colors made out of coconut shell and husk. Beautiful colors.
Yeah.
We also saw colors made of mangosteen pulp, skin. This knowledge might have come from the communities because they have been using colors for ages. They didn't have modern colors.
Yeah.
How did our elders make clothes so colorful?
Yeah.
They had knowledge of dyes. So I'm saying that if these students, during their field assignment, can do both the things, takes a lab knowledge to the land, but also bring knowledge of the land to the lab, that process can become a big movement. So you have how many students in the institute here? 24,000 students will bring 24,000 leads from communities. That should be our goal. When we get 24,000, some of them may be common, same knowledge from different communities. Some will be uncommon. Some will be cultural, ritualistic, may not have scientific basis.
Yeah.
But some will have. We should be willing to reject things that are not scientific.
Yeah.
No compromise on science. Scientific principles are inviolable principle under which we will work. But to discover science of people's knowledge is not easy.
Yeah.
The Western experimental designs may not work.
Yeah.
So it may take a long time to validate them sometimes. And we should be willing to do that. So long as the effect of that product is same as claimed by the people.
Right. I have a question for both of you gentlemen, actually, to Prof. Yudi as well, because India is similar to Indonesia in terms of its past colonial history, but different in terms of its constellations of islands. And Indonesia is a vast archipelago. It's consisted of 700 or so languages, and we're very different in terms of racial build-ups. So there, I think, a lot of diversity when it comes to local knowledge in Indonesia, as much as I would imagine it to be in India. So the thing is this, how would you ensure that that's not only become a common practice, but institutionalized to some degree in India? And to Prof. Yudi, as a regulator, how do you make sure that that could be made feasible to be done on a regulatory standpoint? Because Indonesia, not only that it's vast in terms of its islands, but also in terms of the numbers of universities. I think it's of similar scale. India has about 5,000 universities, and Indonesia has 4,500. So this is comparable by size. So to you first, how do you make sure that this approach is generalizable throughout India?
I would say that I recently chaired a committee of one of the state, Jharkhand, which put 43 crore rupees for this project of 5 years. And we are the knowledge provider for that, where 17,000 students will go to 4,000 villages in a group of 4 every year. They will get 10,000 rupees in 3 installments.
Okay.
Once they upload the knowledge on the portal, they get first installment of 4,000 rupees. Then they annotate it, find out whether there are scientific data available about this knowledge. They get another 2,000. Then they will share this knowledge back with the community, and they will get last installment.
Yeah.
Now, this process has begun. A pilot has been done. And this is the first time we are trying something of this kind institutionally.
Yes.
As a part of curriculum.
Institutionally. Yeah.
So I think this model can work. It has already started working in one of the states of India. We took help during the early years of Honeybee Network. During summer vacation, we used to ask students to come to us. We gave them just about 30 rupees, food expenses at that time, 80s. And we asked them to tell us 3 kinds of things: interesting, inspiring, and intriguing. Something you found interesting, something you found inspiring, something you found intriguing. You don't understand why people are doing it. But it is something puzzle. Bring that puzzle to us. And we started saying, oh my God, this I didn't know. Now these students felt even a professor at IMA did not know this. There must be something in it. So the faculty should acknowledge, when students come back, faculty should acknowledge ignorance of some of the practices. Because we may not know all of the things. So humility and empowerment of the student. Student gets empowered that I have brought knowledge which even the professor did not know. And that process was very, very empowering, very helpful.
Yeah.
They go back. We give them more questions. They go back, bring more information. So there must be an iterative process. For some of the knowledge, which appears intriguing to us, we should encourage the students to go back. Maybe we pay for their travel and food, and they will go back and ask those questions.
Yeah.
Sometime we may invite the innovators to my classroom. I do that. Even in IIM, I invite the innovators to my classroom. So that my students who go to large corporations learn how frugal solutions can be developed. People with much less knowledge and resources can solve problems. So I think it can become a national movement, and largely through students.
Yes, just like a conclusion was what Professor Gupta explains. So in our directorate, we try to create one or two programs related with that effort, right? For example, Prof. Gupta said that there's a process and like iterative process, right? This happen in daily life, right? So that's why we have a Bestari Science Tech, just like a living lab program. So we encourage the society, not only from university, to identify, to observe the issue in the public, and then we ask them to find the strategy method to solve that issue, the problem, right? And then just like a cyclus, there's an iterative process to verify it and to confirm the product of that system. Daily life happen, right?
One precaution I would say, there are problems which people are not able to solve.
Yeah.
Scientists are also not able to solve. We can then issue challenge awards, as Gandhiji did in 1929. We tell people, anybody who can solve this problem will get an award. You know, the navigation system for ships, what is called Latitude Award, was given because ships would not, the boats and the ship in the olden time, even pre-colonial time, did not exactly reach the destination. They lost their way. And the chronometer was invented by an ordinary watchmaker in response to the award. So there has been a long tradition of challenge awards.
Yeah.
But Indonesia must also have challenge awards.
Yeah.
If there are problems for which scientists have no answer and people have no answer, shall we keep those problems unsolved? No. We will announce open competition. Anybody can submit an idea.
Yeah.
And if you find idea good, fund it. Even it can be a mechanic on the roadside, it can be a housewife, it can be anybody.
Yeah.
We definitely need somebody who can solve the flooding problem now in Indonesia.
That's why probably what we said that like incentive part, right?
A portfolio of incentives. Yeah. A portfolio of incentives. Material and non-material incentives, individual and collective incentives. Though there are 4 kinds of incentives.
Yeah.
Sometimes the recognition on the label gives great pride to the community member. But that may not be enough. Some money must also be there. Yeah. That may not be enough. There may be some lesson in the textbook about this, which is a non-monetary incentive, but collective. In our textbooks, in our classroom, we should teach. I do that. Examples from the field of the validation, examples of people's knowledge that scientists have validated should come to the classroom. Machines, mechanics, process. I think that will make the students more interested in this knowledge system.
Certainly.
And
that's why, apart from the transfer this idea to our program, we also have daily, let's say, not mentorship. We help the
reverse flow.
faculty member who interested in our program. We give the deep understanding so they can do the program properly, especially for the
technological university once, it is done by one vice chancellor. He made the grassroots innovators at adjunct faculty. Various engineering colleges could invite them and ask them to explain, how did you make a clay refrigerator? How did you make a groundnut digging machine? Tell our students. So one can even have a position like adjunct faculty for the grassroots innovators who have designed a good machine, designed a good process, who have designed a good institution, even collective institution. For instance, when fish, during the monsoon season, fish goes upstream and it lays the egg, it becomes very dull. It is easy to catch during spawning period.
Yeah.
But every culture, I'm sure in Indonesia also, you don't encourage fishing during the spawning period, correct? Mm-hmm. In our country also, there is a taboo. Don't catch fish when they are laying eggs.
I see.
They go upstream in the estuaries to lay the eggs, shallow waters. Now, every culture realized that if you kill the fish at the time when it is laying egg, the population will go down. Mm-hmm. And the sustainability will not be there. So even institutions of this kind should be documented. Mm. How do people conserve diversity? How do people conserve the renewability of the natural resource, the biodiversity? Because they did it without government order. They did it through their own mechanisms.
It's not through centralized regulation. Now, one of the phenomena that I want to dig deeper into is center-periphery divide. So this idea that when it comes to innovation, the spoils goes to the center, and then the risks is distributed. In the context of Indonesia, you have one area we call Bali, which is traditionally known as a major tourist destination. But what people don't necessarily know is that throughout the centuries, the Balinese have cultivated this sophisticated engineering skills called subak for irrigation, which is not only very efficient in distributing water, but also to battle the pests. And it's been proven through centuries that has been successful. Now, on the other part of Indonesia, Sumatra, now we have this major disasters that has swallowed up more than 900 people. It has something to do with water as well, with flooding. Now, this is the things with research. How do you make sure that when you incentivize these students to go and become the agents for innovations through local knowledge, that they don't just concentrate in areas like for Indonesia would be Java Island? Because this is what we see in the academic communities, that the best universities, the best local knowledge concentration is like the economic concentration, also in Java Island. In the context of India, how do you make sure that the periphery don't always just carry the risk, but also
I'll use a metaphor of tree root bridges. Indonesia also, you have bridges made of tree roots. India also, we have bridges made of roots of the tree, correct? By pulling the roots. Yes. So I say that science is like an alphabet, technology is like word, institutions are like grammar, and culture is like thesaurus. We need all the four for sustainable outcome. We should look at cultural context of the knowledge, we should look at institutional context of the knowledge, we should look at technological context of the knowledge, and we should look at the building blocks, the alphabet. If we look at all the students may not be able to get all the four in the first visit or even the second visit. It will require constant effort between faculty and students.
Yeah.
But the fact that one region of Indonesia has managed to deal with waves of the sea so well for such a long time and another region has not, we have to organize visits of people from Sumatra to Bali and vice versa, so that people-to-people learning takes place. We have not done that. We go to conferences. You went to Japan, you go somewhere, I come to Indonesia. We learn from each other. Yeah. But we're not helping communities learn from each other. Yeah. So there should be a program of communities in the difficult areas grappling with the problem are facilitated to visit the place where this problem has been solved. And they will figure out among themselves by talking to each other what should they do, even without our interference. Mm-hmm. I think that is very important. When we do Shodh Yatra, I walk in every part of the country. I have walked in every state of the country. Yeah. I have walked for 7,000 kilometers. Summer, we go to hot places. Winter, we go to cold places. And twice my students I take to Himalaya, mountain. And very steep mountain. This time we went to Arunachal Pradesh on the Chinese border. And mountain was like this, very tough. But they have to go. Mm-hmm. They have to struggle. They have to see how common people live. Mm-hmm. And then they understand the architecture why people have developed this architecture which did not collapse during earthquake. In our earthquake-prone region, the traditional structures remain intact. The modern structures fell down.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
So we have not paid attention to that.
We haven't. Right.
Yeah, there's the strategy to give us an opportunity to observe what happened in the society, right?
I think one of the best in societies that can manifest, that can use challenges as means to progress. Well, let's take Japan. I mean, you studied in Japan, right? Japan has been hit hard by tsunamis, many years, many decades, many centuries, and they become experts in dealing with earthquakes and tsunamis. Now, what I worry about in Indonesia is that we have been hit hard, not least by tsunamis, but also by our position being in a ring of fires. But it seems like we're very prone to disasters. So what would it take? I mean, I would imagine all of these great initiatives that you have spoken about would require some leadership to do this, right? And then to make a system change from being fragile to anti-fragile, a system that can respond positively to the challenges. We need more of this.
Leadership is not only at the top. We should also look at the bottom of leadership. If there is a community, there is a person who takes pride in the way they have handled the disaster, they should become our teacher, they should become our leaders. We should encourage such leaders to hold the stage and talk about their pedagogy to the other communities. So when we give awards to people who have not studied up to 8th class, and our president gives award, we developed a system of scholar in residence. 10 scholars, school children, college student, and farmers and artisans stayed as the guest of President of India for 10 days. I'm saying every governor, every vice chancellor, every director can have a scholar in residence, where you can invite some committee members to stay in the guest house of this institute, take food in the mess with a student sometimes with faculty, visit the lab. They may not understand much, but let them come and fertilize the imagination of people around.
I see.
Yeah.
Just talk casually.
Yeah, I still remember what you explained yesterday about the pyramid, right? Probably the leader can be at top in the positions to make a decision, right? And also a limited number who can make a decision but have a power for that one. But in the bottom line, we have the community with a big number of the citizens.
The knowledge-rich, economically poor people.
So can you also mention it again and you get a story? Because it's very important, I think. This is the source of the knowledge and the creativity actually will be happen in the limited, in the community with limited resources, right?
The conventional model is people are sink of advice and assistance. They must get assistance to survive. They must get advice to survive. And source is the lab, the leaders at the top. That is the conventional understanding. We are converting sink to source. We are saying people will become the source and we will become the recipient of that knowledge. So model has changed. You invert the pyramid. And I can tell you that today, the president of our country, the prime minister, several ministers, they cannot deny anymore the power of this knowledge, because this is proven knowledge. Now that scientists have proven it, it becomes scientific knowledge. So I would strongly believe that we can reverse the pyramid. A lab to land model must be modified into land to lab to land. Bring knowledge from the people, validate it, give it back to people. That is the model we can develop. Although in some cases, pure laboratory research is also worthwhile and required. I will not deny the need for that. Because we don't have people don't have the tools to think that precise. But as you were talking about astronomy, I was talking to your father that I met an astronomer in Bloomington, and I asked him, what do you infer from the ring around moon? In our country, people predict rains after 2 months by looking at the ring around the moon. And he explained to me that crystals of water sometimes move up the sky, and the light of the moon refracts from the crystal and it becomes like a halo. He said that shows the height to which crystals have moved. So if people are saying after 3 months there will be good rain, they have a good reason to believe. We can do an empirical test of it. So some of their belief may be wrong, but some of the belief are right. If they are right, and if we develop a good proxy variable which can indicate a lot of complex astronomical phenomena, why not? You know, people have knowledge about waves of the sea. Fishermen go to the sea and come back safe almost 99% of the time. How do they interpret the waves? What is the taxonomy of waves? In English language, we have high tide, noon tide, low tide. But in their language, they may have more words. So I would request some linguist to be brought into the team who will look at the number of words for waves.
Yeah.
And then see, because each word is a concept. So why do they give different words for different waves? There must be an underlying scientific phenomenon.
Yeah, just like you mentioned that single source, problem, solution, right? And so apart from that issue, you just mentioned that the several component of the innovation. I think it's also can applicable for the grassroots innovation, right? So the role of the university, for example. So can you probably give a short story, probably the best practice in India, how the scientists or faculty member involved in the grassroots innovation activity?
So whenever we have to give awards, the requirement is that if President of India is giving award, it should be a scientifically valid claim. Now, how do we do that? So we had to take help of the scientists, engineers, chemists, physicists, the pharmacogonist, to validate these claims. And scientists also found it interesting because their students were coming to see a product or an object which seemed very different from what they designed. They use CAD-CAM and all that to design products. Here somebody without knowledge of CAD-CAM has made an engineering product. Everything fell into place. Everything is working. How did he think? In his mind, how did he draw an image and put every component together? So engineering students get intrigued that you can design products without looking CAD-CAM drawing. How do they do that? So they are also, the teachers find that the students are also interested in finding alternative ways of designing products. You know, we had the science of architecture before, science of making home before science of architecture came. We had the science of moving object before, practice of moving object before the science of motion came. So technology preceded science actually, historically. We had technologies first, science came later.
Yeah.
For thousands of years, people had been solving problems technologically. But they did not have as good a scientific basis. That has happened in the last few hundred years. So please understand that today we say science, technology and innovation. But historically it was technology, innovation and science.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I'm going to segue to the second part of the conversation.
We should also ask people to participate.
Because we will have a chance for you. So do please prepare your questions because I'm at the second half of for our discussion and then there'll be plenty of opportunities to do that. So, but then we're talking about global strategy right now. So a lot of things that you have reported to us hinges, what I think, is on the idea of deconstructing the hierarchy, of flipping the pyramids. And I think much of it is due to our imported idea of ideas being property. Okay, so intellectual property, which is not necessarily consistent with our own local heritage, a local understanding of what it means to be sharing ideas. India is very successful. We spoke a little bit about astronomy. India has a very successful space program. And then we share similarity as a post-colonial country too. So I see this as a major success by India to decolonize not only its space program, but deeper than that, its way of thinking, to move away from the idea of ideas being property. How did it start? or what period of time do you think you owe much to in order to make such initiatives even possible?
There were 2 or 3 periods in our history. One was when Gandhi gave the Challenge Award, 29. And Gandhi said, I don't care from which direction the wind comes in my house, so long as it does not uproot me from the ground. So he said, let the wind of ideas come from all directions. But it should not let my feet be moved away from the ground, feet on the ground. That notion was very deeply felt. He also developed the concept of Bunyadi Talim. Bunyadi Talim means you educate children by practicing.
Okay.
So you must do gardening, you must do sweeping, you must do cleaning of the school, and also study the numbers, English, whatever subject. He did not succeed completely. But once some students went to him and asked, Gandhiji, we want to work in rural development. Tell us, what should we do? Gandhi had never worked in rural areas. He lived in cities, always. He said, if I have to work, I will do one thing. Supposing I have to work in livestock. I'll go to a village and find out who is the farmer whose livestock are strongest, who get the maximum milk, whose barn is very clean, and I will record morning till evening all the practices of his day-to-day work. Then I will look at an average producer and document the practices of that average producer. Closing the gap between the two becomes my job. Which means the best practices, way back, he's talking about best practices, and the average practice, closing the gap between the two became goal. So we had many industrialists in our country during 40s, who believed that Indian mind and Indian workers can compete with the best by working on solutions. Then came 1971 when Bangladesh war took place. Till that time, American consultants were sitting in our ministry. Ford Foundation, Rockefeller, they used to give advice. And our bureaucracy was very deferential. Our ministers also paid a lot of respect to them. Mrs. Gandhi in 71 snapped that link completely. She said, no more any consultant. Nobody's going to US for the time being. We will all solve problems through our own genius. Yeah. That decade from 70s to mid-80s became the decade of tremendous self-confidence, indigenous effort in all disciplines of science and technology. That was the golden period, I would say.
I see.
After that, people became habitual.
Yes.
Now people don't care as to what somebody else in the West. There are some people who believe. I mean, in my institute, for example, I did not study abroad. I was exception. But most of the professors are PhD abroad. Mm-hmm. I will accept that, even today. So there is an assumption that people who do PhD from abroad are better than people do PhD within the country. But the fact of the matter is that local PhDs are more productive many times.
I got to tell you, if I get an email from IIT students wanting to do a PhD, I'm more happy than having an email from a British student right now. The quality is just heaven and earth.
But it depends on me. No. The way you evaluate the assignment of the student here will determine the quality of the student. If I'm as rigorous as an American professor, why wouldn't my student be as good? So we produce, I take pride in teaching students who are comparable to the best in the world.
I see. And
this spirit, I think, is what we need. When your father has gone to that conference as the chair of the... he must have credentials in astronomy of the kind that made him chair, isn't it? People like him have a responsibility to build the culture of local PhDs, local research, local technologists being given the same respect as international PhDs. And I'm, with due respect to you, I will still say that the ability to think originally is not a Western concept. We have thought originally for 5,000 years. our art,
Yeah.
our culture, our batik print. Batik evolved by people, not by Western university.
That's right. Yeah.
How do you bring 4 or 5 colors in the cloth by batik print? It's a science.
Yeah.
By covering the wax and all of that.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that if you look at dyeing industry, you look at textile, you look at construction, you look at
Yeah.
food, there's so much richness. It is the colonial mindset which tells us that all good things come from there. No, they don't.
Yeah.
We are becoming a
This model of putting names of the inventor on the bottle did not come from America. You show me one product in England or US where the name of inventor is on the label. You cannot show me. Correct? So,
Yeah.
so time has come to think that we will develop our own models,
Right.
business models, our own technologies.
Yeah.
But science is something which is uniform. And I cannot say I will not refer to the paper from the science from England or US. I will have to refer. If there's a good work, I will refer. But I will also refer to the work of my country. Unfortunately, and I will be very honest in this, our young people cite Western authors more than the indigenous authors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah.
That is a colonial mindset. You think good work is done by them. Even if your own author has written that point first, you will give lead citation to somebody else. This mindset must change. I never did that in my life. Never. And we taught 91 labs of UNDP in 115 countries, sitting in India, online course. It is possible to do that. You can be global leader.
Yeah.
So global strategy does not require us to have all the money that the West has, all the labs that they have. We must get good facilities, but we can compensate inadequacy of the resources by abundance of our imagination. That's what I'm saying. In mind, we are not second to anybody. God has given us equal brain to everybody. The degree to which we use it varies. And I'm a firm believer that we should use our brain more rigorously. We should not agree with a simple explanation. I push my students when they sometimes use AI
Oh, yeah.
and come to the class to present their project, I will dismiss it.
Yeah.
Won't allow them to present. I'm not here to listen to the AI. I'm here to listen to you. Tell me your ideas, not AI ideas. This is a very serious problem now. AI will do, in the education system, if our students start writing assignments by using AI, what will happen to their cognitive function? So we have now, AI detectors.
Yeah.
And we do a test, just like plagiarism test.
Yeah.
We also do AI detection test. I would not allow an assignment, a project. And of course, when you read it, you figure it out. But professors have to do more work now. Our work increases. I have to read I don't give it to my technical associate or research associate. I read 70 students, 3 assignments. Mind you, how much work I have to do? I have to read 210 assignments for grading them. Grading is a very tough kind, but that is where we lay the foundation of excellence.
Yeah. You cannot outsource that easily.
Out of 70, only 5 or 6 A grades.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Should we move to the Q&A? Should we involve the audience?
We can move to the Q&A. But yes, Professor Gupta just showed us there is a big potential in the local area, right? But the most important thing, how to transform it to become the innovations. And knowledge itself.
Culture of creativity and innovation.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prof. Anil Gupta. I always tell my students that our real laboratory is once you go out from the gate of university. My point is, the real laboratory is to learning from the people, from the community, not only learning from our lab or studio in university. But then I found some interesting point that I often go to the field and also let my students to go. But undeniably, there will be some power relations. You go to the people and say that, hey, where do you come from? And I come from ITB, blah, 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 blah. There will be some kind of social dynamics there during the conversations. Perhaps they will see like us, oh, you are the expert, and somehow there must be some difficulties to have a conversation, some nice conversations. How do we cope with that issues? That's the first. How do we cope with these issues about the power relation when we are in the field? And second thing,
Can we limit it to 2 at least?
two.
Yeah. Just okay.
2 questions, only 2 questions. When we try to scale up the the knowledge from the community to the macro level, which is to the policy framework, somehow there will be some also gap. The language of the community somehow is not really suitable with the policy language. So how can we bridge this issue? So that's the only. Thank you.
The first thing is, for example, on 27th of December, my class of agribusiness leadership will be held in a traditional food festival. The students, I will not be teaching them that class in IIM. All the students will go to a food festival that we organize, and they will meet grassroots leaders there. So I take my students to organic farmers, I take my students to communities. When I was teaching economics, way back, 20 years ago, 25 years ago, there was an industry visit, but there was no rural visit. I started rural visit in IIM. And so I think the leadership power can be demystified by using the authority that faculty has in the classroom. In the classroom, you decide, I decide what we do. We don't have to take permission from anybody, isn't it? So I think by bringing people in the classroom and by taking class outside the campus, in the field, I have been able to handle this power. And tell you, I also sometimes jokingly say, though our institute is a management institute, I say those who want to become manager, let others teach them. I will only teach the leaders. I will not to teach managers. I don't want people to follow orders. I want to create people who will create direction, give vision. It may be my arrogance, you can say that, but that's the way we have to do. I mean, we have to set our own rules. We don't realize that we are extremely powerful as a faculty member. But sometimes teachers can be terrorists.
Okay.
We use our authority to bulldoze the young people and impose our views on them. That is not what I like.
Yeah.
I give A grade to those students who teach me something new.
Yeah.
I make it very clear that if you tell me what I taught you, you will get B, C, or D. But if you tell me something I didn't teach you, you will get A grade. Because I learn. So my condition of A grade is very clear. Teach me something new. Surprise me. And I think this is the standard we have to create. I personally believe it's a good practice that if you ask a student to surprise you, they are challenged. And then something beautiful comes out.
So, I want to ask you questions. From previous day, I was attending Prima CEO talk in ITB. There were Mr. Fauzan Aziman on there as the General Director of Kemendikti Saintek. He has an idea about having Indonesia's research ecosystem as a consulting based, which can make Indonesia's research ecosystems more real problem solving. More problem solving.
Problem solving.
Yeah. And I believe that, and I also agree for your statement that leadership should be applied in every kind of level. If we want to talk about in a research team member itself, the leadership should be applied for every kind of member, not only maybe the first order of the leader of the team. And yeah, I believe that also every people have their own terminology in their life to talk. Maybe they came from different backgrounds and kind of major. So I believe that if we want to scale up the number of people who have the brilliant ideas, who have their good mindset, we have to scale up by sharing that kind of mindset.
Do you have a question?
Yep. And the question is how we can spread the mindset of leadership to people. So yeah, the research member could not just depend on one people as the leader itself.
What's your name?
My name is Amanda.
Amanda. I did one study. I wrote about it in 2009, but I did it in 2013 voluntarily by having scientists, soil scientists, animal scientists, agriculture scientists, and medical doctors. And I took 2 villages with high chronic disease and 2 villages with low chronic disease, human disease. And I did the test, soil test, animal food. And I found that copper was a discriminating variable. Since you come from geological science, please look at the fact that certain minerals in the soil, when taken in the food chain, create chemistry in our body which influences our immunity to fight diseases. This notion did not exist as much with clarity. So I'm saying the mindset, first the scientists should change their mindset. Not the people mindset also has to be changed, but our mindset should be changed first. You mentioned about ecosystem. We should have understood that minerals in the soil will come in the food, right? Minerals in the sea will come in the fish. Why didn't we study that? Why didn't we study that different rice varieties in Indonesia mobilize different minerals from the soil? Some rice varieties have high iron content. The international research is about fortification of rice, But we already have an answer to that. We have rice which is rich in iron, which is rich in vitamin A. Why don't we use that rice to solve the malnutrition problem? So I think the mindset of the scientists must be changed first. Then we will change the mindset of the people. We must recognize by using good science that look, some of the things that you are doing are right, but some of the things you are doing are wrong. And we have a right to tell you what is wrong by first acknowledging what you are doing right. If I find out your strength, you are listening to my criticism. But if I don't highlight your strength, you will not listen to my criticism. So I would say that mindset is required to be changed. First ours, then theirs.
Okay, would you like to comment on it?
Yes, this event and almost of our program in my directorate just to enhance and strengthen the scientific ecosystem. Okay, the leaders, one of the component inside of the program. So Gupta just tell us the actual example to change the mindset, for example. But what you said that we are not only serve the intention of the individual or small group to produce a certain scientific product like publications or solve a narrow problem. But here we develop a system to increase and strengthen the scientific ecosystem. This is very important.
So, Amanda, if you can tell me geologically, in the geological age of millions of years, which of the minerals in the mountain are likely to be leased to the low-lying paddy fields and which will remain bound in the upper reaches?
Yeah.
Can you tell me? You get the question? Not the minerals which are in the hydroxide form or carbonate form, different compounds, So they bind, for example, phosphates. They are not available in the soil even though phosphorus is high, because they are not. You have to convert into phosphite. So what I'm saying is, or nitrate into nitrite, or ammonia. What I'm saying is that let us look at our knowledge of geology, in your case, and find out over the millions of years how the weathering of the rocks has enriched the basic paddy fields, in which region with which mineral. And then paddy grown in those regions which are rich in iron or zinc or boron must become functional food. They should not be sold as paddy, they should be sold as boron-rich paddy.
Yeah.
Boron-rich paddy is good for arthritic patients. So I'm saying geological knowledge can be used along with the medical science. I mean, if academia can put the geological scientists and medical scientists and mineral scientists together in the internet research, we will get answers to these questions. A real system science is that.
Like a scientific ecosystem, right?
Ecosystem.
Speaking of geology, by the way, up until the early 1900s, there were about 7,000 journal publications on Indonesian geological processes in Java Island. That was the first time the naturalists came to know about the interaction between tectonic plates as the main characteristic of the Earth. Because before that, people didn't know that before, the causality between tectonic plates.
Food with that.
They did, yeah, actually, yeah.
Health with that. That's what we need to do.
Everything emerges from the ground up. Pram, goes to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Before I move into my questions, but let me tell you about a bit of the context and story. About the India itself, so in my field, aerospace and space, so we know India very well, especially because of the Indian space mission. So that's one thing, and every single country give a very high respect to India because of that. So my point is that India is also one leader in this field, space. So basically, let me call it a high technology for now. But I remember there was an article that mentioned about this quite heated discussion about why the government give the money to high tech, but why not give the money for, let's say, the grassroots technology and innovation. And that also reminds me about story, one particular story in Indonesia. So I think we mentioned about Professor Habibie, Pak Habibie, an Indonesian former president and former aerospace engineer. So he also gave a lot of money to Indonesian aerospace. So let's call it a high tech for now. Yeah. But I remember Pak Bagus, Pak Joko Suharto, one of our former professor at ITB. So actually, he was quite an opponent for that. He was actually the proponent of the grassroots technology and innovation. So these like two different sides of the coins, and some people see this as a competing sides. Yeah. But we know that actually we should balance these two. And what is your take on that? Yeah. Or maybe how can a country or a community balance those two different sides?
So some years ago, I was invited to talk to the space engineers in their annual conference. And on the way from Thiruvananthapuram to the launch pad in Tumbuh, I asked the engineer who had come to receive me at the airport, how did we do this Chandrayaan mission in $78 million? Nobody did it but less than $1 billion. He said, sir, everybody asked this question, but I will tell you. So when you design a rocket to reach the moon, you have to have enough fuel to take it to that level. So most countries design big rockets, and they require a lot of fuel. A lot of weight, therefore a lot of propulsion. What India did, India used the gravitational pull of the moon and low fuel quantity to get to the orbit of the moon, and then used small rockets to change the trajectory bit by bit, coming closer to the moon. So small rockets will give the push to change the orbit from outer to the inner, to the inner, to the inner, to the inner, and come close to the moon's inner orbit when they have to land. So our fuel requirement was much less. And how did we do that? By simulations. So we are very good in mathematics. So we could abort a mission in 100th of a second or 1000th of a second. That much accuracy. So therefore, the way of thinking, a frugal way of thinking, is deep-seated in Indian mind. And I would say should be so in Indonesian mind, because we can't afford their models of reaching the space or crossing the boundaries. We have to develop our own models of low cost but high impact. And I'm giving you an example where in space we have used that model. At low cost, in $78 million, we could do what no other country in the world had done in less than $1 billion. So this is where I would say that, and then our program of remote sensing is very powerful. Today, we can predict reasonably good weather about 10 days in advance. And sometime, slowly and slowly, we're expanding it. Also, the signal to the fisherman is now given by the remote sensing, looking at the waves and all that. So and then after tsunami, we have a lot of tsunami prediction centers now in the. So I would say that while we have done this space, but we also get intrigued by the fact that not one Andaman Nicobaris tribal died during tsunami. Why? Because they saw the waves in the sea becoming still. The water had become still. I don't know in Indonesia if you have observed or not. Water became still. They said it's dangerous. Why is not water moving? And that became a signal to go up. Not one tribal died. There are about tribe. So I'm saying that we need both sides of knowledge. We need knowledge of high quality prediction models, remote sensing, all of that. satellite imagery. We have our own satellite, as you know. And we also, we launched 104 satellite. 104 satellite in a single launch in different orbits for different countries. That is the launch vehicle capability. I've been to that launch pad. So there are two kinds of launch pad we have. One where you assemble the rocket inside the pad and then it takes off from there. Second is the pad comes out. The launch pad comes out and then you bring the rocket there and assemble. Now I asked the question which somehow our scientists have not yet been convinced. I said when the rocket launch takes place, the temperature is very high. 3,000, 5,000 degrees centigrade. If you can get organisms from the soil nearby, we might get thermophilic organisms. I'm yet to do that research, but I told them that, look, we should look at the soil around the launch of the rocket. Oh, it has huge fire. So I'm saying that let us think of getting more out of less. From that same launch, can I get some microorganisms from the soil which can tolerate or love? They may be thermotolerant or thermophilic, high temperature organisms which are required for certain purposes. So I believe that we must get more information out of every experiment we do, more data out of every experiment, even the incidental knowledge. This is an approach I think will help us. We become too focused sometimes. A space program means I'm only concerned with rocket, but we are not concerned with the temperature effect of the launch on the soil. That is lacking, and I think we should do that.
Do you want to add something to that?
No.
No, you just...
There's no more any debate between space program and societal program. We don't have any debate anymore.
But what you illustrated so relevantly to Indonesia's problem today is that it is indeed possible to science our way out of disasters.
Yeah.
That's something that has always become catchphrases of people who are responsible every time we finish having disasters, in that some of them are unpredictable. But you proved that in the case of India, it is predictable.
Right, thank you so much for the opportunity. My name is Shauki. I am an undergraduate student at Electrical Power Engineering, batch 2023. My question is kind of similar to a previous question, but aside of scientific ecosystem, my question is about one problem that I would like to discuss is about scientific cultures in Indonesian students, because in my observations in 3 years in these institutions, I still see that majority of students, mostly Gen Z, my generations, we want the fastest and safest way to success, and those in our imagination was going to the company and etc., etc. But few who have great curiosity to do science, to do experiments, and to do experiments other than the curriculum models told us to do. And here, I think one concrete example in KKN, which is the program that we go to villages and solve problems there. I think when we go to KKN, where we go to villages, there are few innovations. There are very, very little innovations. Because in bureaucracy, I think there are key results, key parameters that the bureaucracy wants us to do. And those give barriers to us for us to do experiment. And and science need experiments need curiosity, right? And I believe I read about Pak Bagus ideas of Indonesia to be the center world of knowledge producers, and I think that needs a lot of scientists, a lot of researcher, and also a good science orator. And does that problem? My question is: does that problem, like the curiosity or scientific culture, still applied in Gen Z in Nottingham or in your university, sir? And what are the strategy? I think the quick wins to shift the cultures of the scientific and research cultures in the students in Indonesia. Thank you.
But what is the barrier? I mean, what is preventing you from asking those questions when you go to the field? What prevents you from asking questions about things that you don't make sense of?
Yeah, there are no barriers, but I think in my colleges there are like barriers. Like we go there to do like normal problem solving things, not just experimenting innovation. Because I think there are cultures that in this in our academic in the academic side few incentive to do innovations, to do those kind of research things.
So let me give you some simple tools. One tool was given to us by Lord Buddha 2000 years ago. The tool was compare and contrast. Compare and contrast. So you have a distribution, statistical distribution. You have two tails, right? Mm-hmm. Left tail and the right tail. Mm-hmm. Say you go to the village and you find farmers have sown a crop. Mm. But you notice one field where crop is much taller. He had sown it earlier than others. Go to that farmer. Everybody else sowed, their crop seemed about 6 inches or 8 inches. Yours appears 1.5 feet. Why did you sow early? What led you to think that early sowing will help your crop better? That question. Anything which is contrasting with the general practice should attract your attention. That's the first principle. Anything odd, anything different from the general practice. For instance, we were walking in a mountain and we found on the top of the roof in mountain, some grass bundles were lying. We asked this question. Why have you kept grass bundle on the top of the roof? He said, when snow comes, and if snow settles on the roof, the weight of the snow is so high, my roof may collapse. But putting the grass there would not let it settle down. I didn't know this. But how would I know if I didn't ask this question? So anything which is odd about architecture, about agriculture, about food, somewhere you see some plants hanging on the rope or in the sun. Ask yourself, what are you drying? How long will you dry it? How long will it survive? How long can you store it? And then see somebody else who may be not drying it enough. And see the contrast. So in any aspect of life, whichever develops your interest, look at the odd information. Oddity is the heart of curiosity. Yeah. Anything not following a pattern is my question of inquiry. Simple. Yes. Yeah. Second thing is, there are some people who are made fun of in the villages. People make fun of that fellow because he does something different. Find out about such people. People who are infamous, or people make jokes about them because these people are doing something on their own mind. Yeah. Everybody follows this direction, they go in that direction. Yeah. Look for such people, crazy people. I often say that Honeybee Network is a network of crazy people. Mm. You see the point? People who don't follow the rules, do something of their own. Even if it fails, they enjoy it, they laugh about it. So every culture, even in families, you will notice some relative will be such who does odd things, isn't it? And when you have marriages and all that, there's one or two people who make any tense situation light by cutting a joke or something. Yes. So this is a part of our culture, that despite conformity being the dominant pattern, we also have deviance allowed in our culture. But deviance is allowed when you do something different, not always better. But these people who are deviant do something better also. Out of 10 things they may do, one thing may be better. 9 may be just like that. But this trait of a person to differ from the norm is a character that I would like you to imbibe from our people.
Right, thank you, sir.
It's very encouraging, Professor Gupta, to see the examples of, particularly not only through Honeybee, but also India as general. But since the question is also directed at me, I think I would like to use this opportunity to give my views in that. I think the main inhibitors of scientific culture is not cognition. And there's this bogus idea about Indonesian collective IQ being 78. I think it is baseless. It is based on this bogus research by Lin and Beckett, who has been debunked several times. And I think also learning from what Professor Gupta has elucidated to us is that the main enemy scientific culture, scientific thinking relies heavily on analytical and critical thinking. And to be critical means that you are able to contest those who are above you on top of the hierarchy. So if you are unable to take the consequence of the critical thinking, let's say you have a critical thinking and then the conclusion of that thinking is that your professor is wrong. But you're not allowed to think that your professor is ever wrong. What's the whole point of being able to think critically? And I think Professor Gupta talked a lot about defiance. I think our education system must fix itself of the culture of conformity. And the students that got rewarded and those who get placed in the top of the hierarchy are those who aren't defiant, those who are conformist.
What's your name?
Shauki.
Shaukin, yeah. I will tell you one thing. People who defy face trouble in their life. Because the powerful people don't like people defying. Yeah, exactly. So I can tell you that if you develop this attitude, you will become a good human being, but you will have to struggle a lot. I have had to struggle a lot in my life. Because I was always defying. I will never follow the norms. But life has been very struggleful. But don't give up. Yeah. That's all I can tell you. Defy. Yeah. Defy your teacher, defy parents, defy the leaders. Because you have a desire, you want to do something different.
Yeah.
So be ready.
That one happy today. Yeah. Right. That one happy today. A few keywords already come up, right? Yeah. First, ecosystem of science and technology. A second is scientific culture. I think this is the ammunition for the citizen science in the future, right? Yeah.
I'm very happy that the students are asking some fundamental questions.
They are.
Yeah.
I hear more from the students.
Yes.
And others, of course.
Well, yeah.
Good questions. Good questions. Very good.
They are indeed. And unfortunately, we're running out of time. But I'd like to give this opportunity to Prof. Yudi, probably to give some words of conclusion.
Yes, there is two important parts that are already mentioned by Professor Gupta. First, the power of observations. This is probably very important for the bridging grassroots innovations, right? And the second, when Professor Gupta reply your questions, dare to be different. So in the first slide, in the yesterday, Professor Gupta showed a duck. So 4 duck in the right directions and 1 duck in the other directions. So different.
She was my favorite.
Yeah.
I like people who defy. I like people who stand up for what they believe in. Because they are going to make this world different and better.
Yes. So the power observations and don't be afraid to be different with the others, right?
Sustain this.
Yes.
Let's give a round of applause to Prof. Yudi and Prof. Gupta. Thank you very much, gentlemen.